Is what?
Leave meeting.
Leave meeting?
Do you want me to cancel?
Yeah.
I did.
So good Shabbos, everyone. Just wish each other a good Shabbos before we mute everyone. And then I'm going to ask Cantor if he could unmute himself. And Sophie, just be ready to unmute yourself. She's going to lead us in a few of our prayers this evening. So let me go ahead and mute everyone. So just wish each other a good Shabbos real quick.
Good Shabbos, everybody. Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos real quick.
Thank you. That sounded like Phil. I didn't see him, but and I can't find.
Talk.
Good Shabbos, everyone. Sometimes it takes me longer to figure this out. We've been doing this for a while, and I still feel like a novice at some of this, but I think we're doing okay. Guess what's coming? Hanukkah is coming, so we're going to increase the light, make sure that we increase every bit of light. There is darkness in the world, but we agree that we are to be a light of the nations. So if that just means we put in one little grain of sand in the weights of the kaf zechut, the weights of justice, if we put one just grain of sand better into the world, we can change the world. So with that in mind, on page 16, with Shalom Aleichem, what Shalom really means is we've been talking about adding certainty. We've been talking about pleasantness, but Shalom also means to make equal, to really make sure that other people in our lives are feeling fulfilled. And that's our job as we enter into this Hanukkah season, is to ensure that other people, putting other people's needs ahead of ours, is sometimes a spiritual practice that can change not only the world that we live in immediately, but the world at large. So we start with Shalom Aleichem on page 16.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Bochem L'Shalom, Malchei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruchuni L'Shalom, Malchei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem L'Shalom, Malchei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Turn to page 38 for Lecha Dodi as we greet the Sabbath bride, how we greet really makes a difference. How we enter into relationships with other people, with God, with time, with the Sabbath makes a difference. And if you look just in your corner, Rosalie's beautiful grandbaby over gosh, it was just over a year ago, if I'm not mistaken, that we celebrated a Brit together. Look at how much has changed over a year. You just need only look in the eyes of a beautiful child and see what great potential can happen in a year. So much changes in a year. And I see his grandfather Nathan's actually on Facebook right now as we speak. It's a little bit of a delay, so he's going to hear this in a couple of seconds, which is really interesting. Right about now, he's hearing this. And what's really interesting about that is that what are we doing when we receive the Sabbath? That Kabbalat Shabbat can be done in so many different ways. It can be done on Zoom today. It can be done on Facebook. It can be done on purpose. I mean, on in person. It can be done in so many different ways. But we can all agree on one thing, that it's important on how we do it. Not what it is that we're doing, but how we do it and how we receive the Sabbath. Do we not agree that we need to take a moment and reflect on the busy weeks that we have, pause for 24 hours, think and reflect on how we can add to the world we live in and how we can increase the light. We should spend this 24 hours just trying to be a little bit better. So let's continue with Lecha Dodi.
Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. La 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 lecha dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zochor b'dibur echad. Ishmi'anu el hameuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad. L'shem tiferet v'liti la 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 l'chadodi. Likrat kala. Pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi. Likrat kala. Pene Shabbat nekabela. Hitorari, Kiva oreku mi uri, shir daberi. Kavod Adonai like nigla la 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 lecha dodi. Likrat kala. Pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi. Likrat kala. Pene Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, gam b'simcha u'v'sachala, tochem u'ne'am segula, boi chala, lecha dodi, likrat kala, Pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala. Pene Shabbat nekabela. La 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 lecha dodi, likrat kala. Pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala. Pene Shabbat nekabela.
Great tune, a little show tuney. So check out Hamilton. It made me think a little bit of that. Cantor didn't like that. I'm sorry. So we continue on page 50. Praised are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, whose words brings on the dusk of evening. Your wisdom opens the gates of dawn. Your understanding regulates time and seasons.
El Chai v'kayam. Amidim loch aleinu le'olam v'hed. Baruch atah Adonai, amari v'arahavim.
With everlasting love, you have loved the house of Israel, teaching us your Torah, its mitzvot, laws, and judgments. Ahavat olam.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael amchavta Torah umitzvot chukim umishpatim otanu limadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbeinu u'bekumeinu nasiach be'ukecha v'nizmach b'divrei Toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki hem kayenu ve'yorech yameinu Uvahem nege yomam balayla ki hem kayenu ve'orech yamenu Uvahem nege yomam balayla ki hem kayenu ve'orech yamenu Uvahem nege yomam balayla ki hem kayenu ve'orech yamenu Uvahem nege yomam valayla ve'avatecha al tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael.
We turn our attention to page 54, and I am looking for Sophie, who, if you could just unmute, she's just below. I love it. I'm unmuting you. Can you unmute yourself? There we go. And she's going to lead us this evening in the Shema and lead us with the prayer. And I just want to, speak Sophie's praises for just 2 seconds. Here's a young woman who had to postpone her bat mitzvah over the course of COVID. And here's a young woman who has not only kept up her studies and has really shown to be a leader, not just in our services tonight, but a leader in action by continuing to practice, by continuing to show up. And she does this in so many capacities, certainly with her music and schooling, but also with her Jewish studies and being ready at any moment. This family is really excited to celebrate all the achievements of Sophie, but unfortunately we haven't had a chance to celebrate that, but the family is ready to do that at any moment. And I think that's a lesson that we can all learn, that we are ready for when things go back to whatever normal may be, that we are ready and we are preparing for that day. So I thank you for that lesson, Sophie. And we are on page 54. She will lead us with the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, וחיוך הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך.
The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the children of Israel and bid them to make fringes in the corners of their garments throughout their generation, putting upon the fringes of each corner a thread of blue. When you look upon the fringes, you will be reminded of all the commandments of the Lord and obey them. You will not be led astray by the inclination of your heart or by the attraction of your eyes. Thus will you be reminded to fulfill all my commandments, to be consecrated to your God. I'm the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I, the Lord, am your God."
למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, לחיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Yasher Koach to you, Sophie. What a wonderful job. We turn now to page 64. But before we rise, I just want to let everyone know the idea behind Yasher Koach. May you be strengthened. May you find strength. We often say that thinking at times that that's about the individual. And certainly, Sophie, may you be strengthened and your family be strengthened. But I also think that it's about us. I don't know how uplifted you were, but I was very uplifted to hear that beautiful, beautiful voice from the next generation. That is something that Sophie, her family's a strong Jewish family, and as they move forward into the next generation, we all can find strength in that the Jewish people are here, Am Yisrael Chai, that the Jewish people live. Yasher Koach to each and every one of us as we move forward as a people, as a nation, and as a community. We continue and rise on page 64 for Vishamra.
Yasher Koach, Sophie. Just like we rehearsed, right? Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et Shabbat Lasod et HaShabbat Ledorotam berit olam. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et Shabbat Lasod et HaShabbat Ledorotam berit olam. Beini ubein b'nei Yisrael, oti leolam, oti leolam, oti leolam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et Shabbat, la'asod et HaShabbat, ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, Asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz veshamru v'nei Yisrael et Shabbat la'asod et hashabbat ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash veshamru v'nei Yisrael et Shabbat la'asod et HaShabbat ledorotam berit olam.
Why don't we remain standing as we turn to page 68 for the Ma'ariv Amida for the Sabbath. The cantor will lead us in a meditation for just a few moments as we prepare for the Sabbath Amida.
Adonai sevatai tivtach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your glory.
Grant abundant and lasting peace to your people and to all who dwell on earth. For you are the supreme sovereign of all peace. May it please you to bless your people Israel in every season and at every hour with your peace. Praised are you, Adonai our God, bestower of peace upon your people Israel.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol eit u'b'chol sha'a b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
At this point, we think of those who are in need of healing mentally, spiritually, physically. We have a custom now here in our community to put the names of those who are in need of healing into the chat so that the community can offer prayers to those individuals and for whoever else needs our prayers, our thoughts, our well wishes, and our energies. Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu Abraham Yitzhak Ve'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel V'Leah U'Yivarech V'Rapeh Et HaHolim. Misha Berach Avotenu Abraham Yitzhak Ve'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel V'Leah U'Yivarech V'Rapeh Et HaHolim. Elna Rafan Allah Elna Rafan Allah Elna Rafan Allah Elna Rafan Allah Misha Berach Avotenu Abraham Yitzhak Ve'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel V'Leah U'Yivarech V'Rapeh Et HaHolim.
Yasher Koach to you, Cantor. Tonight is a special night. It marks a special day in the calendar that many of us are not always aware of. Yud Tet Kislev, the 19th Kislev, a few days before Hanukkah. Something very special happened in the history of the Jewish people. It's celebrated as a day that is so important that it is marked with celebration, great joy. This day marks the day that is called the Rosh Hashanah for the Hasidim, for Hasidism, for the actual group of people that we understand to be Chasids. On this date, in the late 18th century. Imagine, I'm sorry, 19th century. No, 18th century. Trust me the first time, that was correct. The 18th century. 1798. Hasidism was really coming to be a part of European society and Jewish culture at the time. But it didn't come from any place other than a really dark time in Jewish history. Oftentimes we look back at this time as though it may have been a great time of joy, but it wasn't. It was a very difficult time for the Jewish people, a time in which there was great poverty, a time in which the anti-Semitism was very, very real, a dark, dark time for the Jewish people. So much so that it wasn't beyond the possibility that you could be taken prisoner, you could be taken into an army that was not really interested in your health and well-being, that you'd be conscripted into an army at a very young age. This was the life in which the Jewish people lived. And it is from that darkness that one of the most joyous, if not the most joyous movements in Jewish history came to be, Hasidism. And it is on this day, Yud Tet Kislev, in which the Jewish people understood that it could happen to each and every one of us, that you could be snatched out of your place as just a person living in the world and put into prison. And that is exactly what happened to Rabbi Shneur Zalman of Liadi, the head of what will later become understood to be the Chabad movement. He will write amazing books, but he was taken away to prison. And on this day, he was freed from prison from Tsarist Russia. More than just a personal liberation for this individual, this great rabbi, it became an event in our entire history, bringing a new understanding of what it is for us as Jews to live joyously, regardless of what happens in life. We can all make a choice. We can look out into the world and see troubles, and we can see negativity, we can see all the darkness out there, or you can make a choice and look at it through the lens of joy and ways in which to look at the world in a positive light. And this isn't just about being positive in thinking, but truly making a difference internally, the inner soul, the inner life, to look at life as a blessing, as a miracle, as a joyous occasion to be alive. And one of the wonderful things that has come out of the Hasidic movement is something called the Nigun. The Nigun is a wordless melody, a melody that helps us to get into the right mental state. A Nigun is a wordless melody that brings out the soul that is inside each and every one of us. In fact, there's a melody that really ignites the Jewish people. It's called the Rebbe's Nigun. The Nigun is sung or played at certain events, primarily at Jewish weddings, to bring out and elicit the inner part of the soul. Because if you are like me, sometimes our soul is speaking out, but the words don't necessarily come. So we come up with these wordless melodies, and my wife has been playing violin, learning it over the past 6 months. She took on this new joyous activity during this dark time to bring a little bit of light, and she's been learning how to play this beautiful nigun. I think of this as Sophie, who is an accomplished violinist herself, that ultimately music without lyrics is just that, a nigun. But each and every one of us is a song. Each and every one of us on this Zoom tonight and on Facebook, and whoever will hear this, hopefully many people in the future will be able to come here and hear the beautiful voice of our cantor and the celebration of our people, and listen to Sophie as she says the Shema, but be able to take away from this a beautiful part of the song that is ourselves, the song that is in our heart. That is what people see. Is your song one of joy, or is your song one that is a little darker? Let's take a moment in this Shabbat as we enter into this week of Kislev, late Kislev, Yud Tet Kislev. The 25th of Kislev, of course, is Hanukkah. And as we enter into this, what kind of nigun is your soul singing? What kind of light are you bringing into the world? It is a dark time right now. We all can agree. Certainly we heard as we had our conversation before that we are being shut down again. There is a pandemic going on that is frightening for many of us, if not all of us, in what it could possibly be to us and our future economically, physically, spiritually. We are in a place in which there is still great uncertainty. But the question ultimately is what kind of song are we going to sing as we enter into this next phase? I choose for myself to sing a song of joy. I choose for myself to sing a song of delight, of pure ecstasy. In other words, it's a choice that we can all make. I hope you make one with me as we enter into Hanukkah to increase the light, to increase a little bit more so that the world around us becomes a little bit brighter. Shabbat Shalom. We continue with Aleinu on page 118. Please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, lateit gedula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, Lifnei melech malchei hamelachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu notei shamayim ve'osed haaretz u'moshav yikaro b'shamayim ha'al u'shchinatu zo begavhei meromim hu Eloheinu ein od Emet malkeinu efezulato, kakatu betorato, biyadata hayom, vahashevota elevavecha, ki Adonai hu ha-Elohim, bashamayim imhal, ve'al haaretz, mitachat. Einod.
For sovereignty is yours, and to all eternity you will reign in glory. As it is written in your Torah, the Lord shall reign forever and ever. And it has been foretold, the Lord shall be sovereign over all the earth. On that day the Lord shall be one, and shall be acclaimed as one.
Kakatu b'toratecha, Adonai imloch leolam vahed, v'nehemar, v'haya Adonai lamelech al kol haaretz, v'yom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
May the memories which we cherish and lovingly now recall inspire us so to live, that we too may bequeath a heritage of precious memories to those whom we shall leave behind. In tribute to our departed, may we enrich the lives we touch. May we share and preserve the faith which our mourners will now affirm as they rise to sanctify God's name in the hallowed words of the Kaddish. The mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 124 in this week's yard sites. And we are in the this week's yard sites, Dr. Ralph Blanco, Murray Herman Amster, father of Arlene Soretsky, Elaine Brofman, mother of Carrie Arquilovich, Mark Cohen, brother of Lori Mallon, Alice Holland, mother of Susan Komsky, Regina Algaze, grandmother of Patty Lewenda, Martin Flancer, husband of Harriet Flancer, Bernard Simon, father of David Simon, Helen Wallach, sister-in-law of Shirley Cohen, Lillian Eisenberg, mother-in-law of Sue Eisenberg, Abram Hodis, father of Jay Hodis, Isaac Coburn, father-in-law of Debbie Cadis, Irma Polson, sister-in-law, Cecilia Bakra. Again, the mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 124. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'galav yisman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei rabbam v'rach le'olam u'me'omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekutsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'amah v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Osei shalom ben romav, huya asei shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. May God, who makes harmony in the universe, grant us harmony and peace for us, for all Israel, and all humankind, and let us all say, amen. So I want to, before we have and do Kiddush, I just want to wish you all a good Shabbos, a hearty Yasher Koach to you, Cantor Cohen. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sophie, for leading us in the Shema. Thank you all for being a part of this evening's service. We are grateful for all of you. We do have services tomorrow at 10 a.m. on Facebook, and then tomorrow at 5:30. Please join us for Havdalah. It has turned into a nice little tight group of folks that share the incoming week. So please join us in this very chat room. It's very simple. You just need to come right back here at 5:30. So as we come in, so we can also exit the Sabbath together. I think that would be a wonderful thing to have dozens of people as we enter into this week of Hanukkah, for many of us, a big holiday. Although it's a minor holiday in the Jewish tradition, it is a holiday that really has the theme that is so important at this time of increasing light, increasing spiritual love in this world. So please rise as we turn to page 90 for Kiddush. 69, I need glasses. Okay, sorry. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzav banu. Shabbat kodsho b'ahav ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit. Ki hu yom techila lamikra'ei kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta v'yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha v'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. L'chaim. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Let me unmute so we all have a chance to wish each other a good Shabbos.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Good Shabbos, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.